Today in this exciting video we will discuss what is NASA trying to find at the bottom of the ocean. Did you know that back in 2018, something amazing happened underwater? Scientists recorded the biggest active underwater eruption ever. Let me tell you all about it. Between 2018 and 2021, there were over 11,000 earthquakes around a small island called Mayotte, which is in the western Indian Ocean, near Madagascar. That's a lot of earthquakes. The strongest one was a magnitude of 5.9. Before this, the area was really quiet, with only 2 earthquakes in the past 50 years. Then, something incredible happened. An underwater volcano erupted and grew to be huge, about 1.5 times the height of the World Trade Center and almost 10 times bigger than the Statue of Liberty. This new volcano appeared nearly 8,500 feet under the sea. Where did all this magma come from? Deep underground. Scientists found a super-deep reservoir of magma almost 34 miles below the surface. It's the deepest reservoir of volcanic magma we know about. Think of the Earth like a chocolate bar. It has layers, and the middle layer is like a chunky caramel filling. Inside the Earth, there are lumps of old ocean crust that got stuck deep inside. This creates big bumps in what should be a smooth layer. The Earth's outer layer includes a hot, moving mantle and a cracked crust. The mantle's movement causes the crust to move too. This makes oceanic crust dive down into the Earth, creating magma plumes that rise toward the surface. Scientists even found an old piece of the Pacific Ocean crust buried deep under China. It's like a giant piece of old seabed that got pulled down into the mantle. Most volcanic activity happens underwater, in the oceans, about 70% of it. The South Pacific is especially busy with volcanoes. But there's so much more to the Earth's rocks than what we see on the surface. Diamonds form deep in the Earth under high pressure and temperature. When they come to the surface, scientists study them to understand what's happening deep inside the Earth. They've learned that the mantle might contain more water than all the oceans combined. As tectonic plates move and dive beneath one another, they drag water into the Earth's interior. This water helps create magma and can even make earthquakes more likely. Beneath the ocean, there are underwater lakes and rivers. Salt layers get dissolved by seawater, making the water denser and creating these pools. There are also underwater mountain chains, canyons, and trenches. Deep underwater, there are hydrothermal vents, hot springs that release superhot water up to 750 degrees Fahrenheit. The pressure down there is so high that the water doesn't boil, but it's too intense for humans to handle. Most of the ocean is in total darkness. Sunlight only reaches about 600 feet down, so the rest of the ocean is pitch black. The loudest sound ever recorded came from an icequake in Antarctica, which is bigger than the continental US and Mexico combined. A big iceberg can hold over 20 billion gallons of water, enough to supply 1 million people for 5 years. If all the ice sheets and glaciers melted, sea levels would rise by 260 feet. That's a little shorter than the Statue of Liberty. Clams can live for more than 500 years. Scientists use the rings inside clam shells to learn about the ocean's past, just like how we use tree rings to learn about trees. Recently, a new ocean was officially recognized, the Southern Ocean. It borders the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. Different oceans have different conditions and unique animals, like leopard seals and emperor penguins in the Southern Ocean. Life on Earth might have started in the ocean. Scientists found tiny tubes in rocks from 4 billion years ago, similar to microbes found near deep-sea vents. These early microbes could have started life on our planet. Despite our technology, we know very little about the ocean. Over 80% of it remains unexplored. It's like having a massive playground that we've barely touched. Scientists use satellites to track tiny plant-like creatures called phytoplankton. These tiny organisms are super important, they're the foundation of the ocean food chain. When satellites first came out, they could take clear images of the ocean much faster than ships could collect the same amount of data in 10 years. But sometimes, we need to get up close and personal with the ocean to really understand it. Luckily, ocean explorers have awesome tech these days. We have floats and drifters that ride the ocean currents and collect data. Plus, there's a whole fleet of underwater vehicles, some are manned, some are remote-controlled, and some even work on their own. Remember James Cameron, the guy who directed the movie Titanic? He's really into exploring the ocean. In 2012, he broke a record by diving down to the Mariana Trench in a special submarine. He says nothing beats experiencing the ocean firsthand. Other explorers use different technologies to find amazing things, like a deep-sea coral reef near Morocco that's still growing. They've also found new species and documented animals that were thought to only live in the Atlantic Ocean. These discoveries have helped protect certain areas and create marine parks. But exploring the ocean isn't easy. It costs a lot of money, and there aren't always detailed maps or data available. Finding funds for these projects can be tough, but they're important for learning more about our oceans. One company's work has helped protect nearly 4 million square miles of ocean. They use the data they collect to find new species, locate important habitats, and show where threatened species are being ignored. Their goal is to protect 30% of the ocean by 2030. Scientists have recently found a huge, mysterious world beneath the Pacific Northwest coast. This hidden realm is like a secret underground club for microbes. These tiny creatures don't need sunlight, they live off chemical reactions with rocks and seawater. This type of life, called chemosynthetic, is found deep in the oceanic crust. Scientists believe this might be one of the largest ecosystems on Earth. They've been studying tiny holes in basalt rocks that seem to be made by bacteria. Researchers have found that microbes living deep in the ocean run on hydrogen, a unique fuel that doesn't rely on sunlight. These microbes use hydrogen to convert carbon dioxide into organic matter, which helps other organisms live in this dark, hot environment. NASA is also interested in ocean exploration. They hope that learning about Earth's oceans will help them understand what oceans on other planets might be like. They're also testing new equipment for future space missions. Deep in the ocean, there are some creepy creatures like the vampire squid. It lives 3,000 feet below the surface and has a cloak like a vampire. To defend itself, it can glow slightly or turn inside out to show tiny spikes. In 2012, Jeff Bezos found the Apollo 11 rocket that went to the moon. Using sonar, they located it on the ocean floor and were able to rescue and reconstruct some of the rocket engines. The lost city of Heraklion was once just a legend. But a British pilot saw something that looked like a city underwater. Divers found it 60 years later, filled with artifacts that tell us a lot about its history. The Titanic sank in 1912, and it was officially found 74 years later. However, a fisherman actually spotted the Titanic 8 years earlier but only found a doll head caught in his net. So, whether it's exploring hidden worlds or finding lost treasures, there's always something new to discover in the ocean. Thanks for watching, and keep exploring. A fascinating story comes from a collector who researched every person with a porcelain toy on the Titanic. She found that Ava Hart, a Titanic survivor, had a doll that was lost in the disaster. Ava even wrote about the doll in her journal, and it perfectly matched the toy found by a fisherman years later. Quite a mystery solved. Meet the tripod fish. This creature lives around 20,000 feet below the ocean surface. It has tripod-like fins to stay still on the seafloor. Since it's so dark down there, the tripod fish uses its fins like antennas to sense movement in the water. It also has a unique way of reproducing. It can be both male and female at the same time. Next up, the lizard fish. This fish lives around 11,000 feet deep where there's no light. It has sharp teeth, a huge mouth, and big eyes for hunting. It eats anything it can fit in its mouth, from small fish to other lizard fish. Like the tripod fish, it can also be both male and female at once. Here's something surprising: an underwater river in California. It flows about 2 miles deep and has sunken logs, trees, and rocks, just like a regular river. And it's not the only one. There are similar rivers in the Amazon and Greenland. Scientists discovered a strange creature near Angola's coast that looked like it didn't have a head or body. It turned out to be a bunch of siphonophores stuck together, not some sci-fi monster. In 2015, a diver found a shiny gold coin while exploring. It turned out to be part of an Arabic treasure from a shipwreck. The coins were solid 24-karat gold and looked brand new because of the perfect conditions underwater. In the Baltic Sea, researchers found a strange formation that looked like a fallen spaceship. It's actually a natural formation, shaped by years of erosion, not something from another civilization. Divers in Madagascar found a huge 7-ton knife on the seafloor. Some thought it was from ancient giants battling megalodons, but it's most likely just a movie prop that was lost at sea. Check out the frilled shark. This rare shark has a long, lizard-like body and a mouth full of about 300 teeth. It's so rare it sometimes appears in shallow waters, but mostly stays deep down where it preys on large fish and crustaceans. Imagine spotting a 26-foot-long worm in the ocean. This giant isn't actually a single worm but a cluster of zooids connected together. It's harmless to humans and feeds on tiny plankton and bacteria. One of the ocean's scariest creatures is the Magna pinna squid. It lives around 20,000 feet deep and has incredibly long tentacles that can stretch up to 8 feet. It looks like something out of a horror movie and is rarely seen. In South Africa, a diver discovered an octopus that used shells and seaweed to protect itself. He visited this octopus daily, and it became the star of a famous documentary. The film shows how the octopus seemed to bond with the diver, though it's hard to say if it was true friendship or just curiosity. A recent study found that octopuses sometimes throw objects like dirt or rocks at each other. This behavior might be a way to defend their space or react to intruders, like underwater camera people. The ocean is full of mysteries and bizarre creatures waiting to be discovered. Keep exploring and stay curious about the incredible world beneath the waves. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. At the deepest part of the ocean, we find the Mariana Trench. This giant chasm is about 6.8 miles deep and 5 times longer than the Grand Canyon. First studied in 1875 with a simple weighted rope, it wasn't until 2012 that Canadian film director James Cameron descended to the bottom in the Deep-Sea Challenger submersible. The trench is home to some of the most bizarre creatures, like the Dumbo octopus, the sea cucumber, and the goblin shark. Named after the nearby Mariana Islands, which honor Spanish Queen Mariana of Austria, the trench remains a deep mystery. In the late 1940s, ships and submarines started detecting strange sonar signals from what appeared to be non-existent seafloor. These phantom bottoms were later discovered to be layers of jellyfish, shrimp, and other deep-sea creatures that rise to the surface at night to feed. Interestingly, they don't just move randomly but seem to gather by species, forming a deceptive seafloor. The reason behind their behavior remains a scientific puzzle. Ever wondered if you could dig straight through to the other side of the Earth? While it sounds fun, scientists know it's not feasible due to extreme heat and pressure. Instead, researchers aim to drill into Earth's mantle, the layer beneath our crust. Since the 1960s, efforts to reach the mantle have faced technical hurdles and incorrect drilling sites. If successful, it would be a monumental scientific achievement, akin to landing on the moon. In 1997, an unexplained sound known as the bloop was detected in the South Pacific. It was so eerie and unique that it was initially thought to be from an unknown sea creature. This sound was even linked to H.P. Lovecraft's fictional monster, Cthulhu. However, in 2005, it was identified as icebergs breaking off glaciers. Despite this explanation, some still speculate about alternative origins. In 2011, divers discovered an oval-shaped object on the Baltic Sea floor. The 2012 exploration revealed what seemed to be a staircase and other structures, sparking theories about it being a man-made artifact or even a spacecraft. However, scientists believe it might be a natural formation, and the malfunctioning of equipment nearby only added to the mystery. Earth isn't a perfect sphere, it's an ellipsoid with a bit of a bulge at the equator. This shape is due to the planet's rotation. Interestingly, gravity isn't uniform across the globe. Areas with more mass, like mountain ranges, have stronger gravity, while regions with less mass, like ocean trenches, have weaker gravity. The Indian Ocean's gravity hole, or geoid low, was first discovered in 1948 and spans over 1 million square miles. This area has a noticeable dip in gravity, though it's mostly invisible to the eye. The Indian Ocean geoid low is a fascinating anomaly where gravity dips significantly. Discovered by a Dutch geophysicist in 1948 during a gravity survey, this anomaly shows a sea level drop of over 320 feet below the global average. It was only with modern satellite technology that scientists could study this phenomenon in detail. Indian scientists have used supercomputers to understand this gravity hole, which remains a key subject of study in geophysics. The mysteries of the deep sea and the quirks of our planet never cease to amaze. From the depths of the Mariana Trench to the strange sounds of the bloop and the enigmatic gravity holes, there's always something new to discover. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible explorations. Recent simulations have shed light on how our planet's tectonic plates moved over the past 140 million years. This period, known as the Cretaceous, was when dinosaurs like the T-Rex roamed the Earth. The simulations, based on 19 different scenarios, revealed that about a third of them produced a geoid low similar to the one in the Indian Ocean. A crucial factor in these models is the presence of magma plumes, areas in the Earth's mantle where molten rock rises. These plumes, hotter than the surrounding mantle, melt and thin the crust, creating hotspots of volcanic activity. Yellowstone National Park and the Hawaiian Islands sit atop such hotspots. The Indian geoid low is linked to ancient oceans that vanished millions of years ago, where the Himalayas stand today. When India's landmass separated from the supercontinent Gondwana, it drifted north and collided with Eurasia. The sinking tectonic plate, dense with crystallized material, caused magma plumes to rise. This process resulted in a lower density region closer to Earth's surface, contributing to the geoid low and weaker gravity in that area. Predicting the future of the geoid low is complex. Plate movements might cause this anomaly to persist or eventually disappear. Earth's tectonic plates continually shift, reshaping continents and oceans over time. Other gravity anomalies include low-gravity regions in Cuba and the Bahamas, and higher gravity in places like the Philippines. The strongest gravitational pull is at the poles due to their proximity to Earth's center. Interestingly, the Arctic has the highest gravitational acceleration, while the lowest point, contrary to expectations, is located more than 600 miles south at Mount Wasuru in Peru. This peak's height affects the gravitational phenomenon, making falling objects reach the ground slightly later compared to the Arctic. Now, let's talk about a fascinating discovery known as Pythia's Oasis. Discovered by a grad student who noticed rising bubbles, Pythia's Oasis is not a hydrothermal vent but a unique spring. Instead of warm water, it releases fluid into the ocean, affecting the surrounding tectonic activity. Located along the Cascadia subduction zone, this fluid acts as a lubricant between tectonic plates. It helps reduce friction but can also cause stress buildup, potentially triggering significant earthquakes if the fluid pressure drops too low. Deep in the Atlantic Ocean near the Azores, scientists have found mysterious, evenly spaced holes resembling punctures. Theories about their origin range from biological causes, such as fish creating them while burrowing, to human-made objects like spiked tires. These holes have sparked wild speculations, but a plausible explanation suggests they might be created by animals digging for clean water circulation. Lastly, ancient civilizations left intriguing traces beneath the sea. Off the southern coast of Croatia, archaeologists discovered a road hidden under layers of sea mud, dating back 7,000 years. This road was found at the sunken Neolithic site of Solin, once a human-made island. The discovery was made after a study of satellite images revealed the site's potential. The underwater exploration uncovered remnants of this ancient road, offering a glimpse into the past. The depths of our oceans and the secrets they hold continue to fascinate scientists and explorers alike. From tectonic shifts and gravity anomalies to ancient underwater roads, Earth's mysteries are vast and varied. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more incredible discoveries. Imagine this: scientists found old stone walls under the Mediterranean Sea at a depth of 13 to 16 feet. These walls were part of an ancient settlement, almost like a lost city from 7,000 years ago. How cool is that? It's like walking on history underwater. But wait, there's more. The ocean is full of strange creatures. Scientists have found over 30 new species in the Pacific Ocean. Some of them are like worms, corals, and invertebrates. And there are some creepy ones too, like blobfish and goblin sharks. It's like a sci-fi movie down there. Did you know that even the bottom of the ocean has things from space? Yep, there are tiny bits of plutonium and iron that came from space explosions. Scientists think these elements help us understand how stars make heavy stuff like gold and platinum. The ocean is not just about sea creatures. It has mysterious sounds too. For example, there's something called the upsweep that sounds like a sweeping noise and changes over time. Scientists think it might be from underwater volcanoes, but they're still figuring it out. Then there's the bloop, a super loud sound recorded in 1997. It's so powerful that no known animal could make it. Some think it's from icebergs breaking apart. But it sounds a bit like something from a monster movie, doesn't it? In the UK, there's a mysterious noise called the Bristol hum that people heard starting in the 1970s. It stopped and then came back. Some scientists think it might be ocean waves making the noise, but it's still a big mystery. Here's a sad but interesting story. There's a whale that makes a unique sound at 52 Hz, much higher than other whales. It's called the loneliest whale because scientists haven't been able to find it or figure out much about it. Finally, let's talk about something called storm oil. A long time ago, sailors used to pour oil into rough seas to calm the waves. It worked like magic to make sailing smoother. And that's it for today's ocean adventures. We hope you enjoyed these amazing facts and stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fun videos. See you next time.